Welcome to another episode of Sub-Auteurs. It is officially Oscar season. We are well into the time of the year when we are going to be watching a whole ton of dramas because the Academy has released their list of nominated films. We are your hosts. I'm Misha.
I'm Mai.
And I'm Anjo.
And today we are talking about...
Whoa.
What the hell, man? Today we are talking about... Can you park your colonial ass over there?
Oh, my God.
Today we are going to be talking about the latest. Well, it's kind of a biopic, but it's a little bit more whimsical than that. We will go into it in detail after our intro. We are talking, of course, about Spencer, starring Kristen Stewart, playing the late Princess Diana, Princess of Wales. So how does she do? Let's find out. All right. So today we're going to be talking about Spencer. This is something that we've been holding on to just because we were expecting the lead actress to get nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh, yeah.
This is not your usual kind of biopic. It is directed by Pablo Larraín, who also directed Jackie. And No, okay? So he's no stranger to this whole genre of going into the heads of strong women in positions of power where there's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation. So tell us, what did you guys think of this?
I thought you were going to say Jackass at first, like directed Jackass. What?
That would be kind of awesome if he did.
Why?
Like if you directed Jackass and then you make a movie like Spencer, like, wow, that's range.
You are amazing.
You are some sort of genius. Okay, but sorry.
It's like when you found out that J.J. Abrams created Felicity.
With Matt Reeves. Now my brain hurts.
Okay, now go back to Spencer. What did you think about this? Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana. Go.
It's funny that you did mention the word whimsical to kind of describe it. But was it really whimsical? It was disturbing.
Yeah.
It was
quite the opposite of whimsical.
It was whimsical like Black Swan is whimsical.
Nope. Yes. That's the perfect analogy.
Okay,
for it.
there you go. That's a more complete and more concrete idea of what we got ourselves into.
Well, come to think of it, kasi when you say whimsical, you're thinking like something nice and floaty and airy with butterflies and like
Oz.
Princesses and rainbows.
Yes.
But fuck, this is the complete
Narnia's
opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is more like descent into madness kind of thing. You know what I mean?
This is
Absolutely.
probably one of the toughest films I've seen recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like considering the movies I've been watching, coming off from the Christmas season, and of course the superhero movies that just recently came out. Wow, this was like one hell of a character study.
It's like we don't usually make it a point to actually watch all of the Oscar nominated films for this podcast. At least, sometimes we do it personally, sometimes we don't. But this is like what really signaled me. Watching this was like, okay, it's Oscar season because these are the movies coming out. These are the movies that are picking up a lot of buzz. So that was kind of my signifier to like get myself into the mindset of probably expecting to watch more of these dramas in the long run if I do want to keep up with whatever's nominated for the Oscars.
Yes.
And honestly, this could very easily be like, if this was a stage play, I could easily imagine it as a one-woman play because Kristen Stewart carries the whole thing and she does so magnificently, letting us into the head of Diana and where she's at. So it's not like based on a true story where it's all like a factual biographical representation of events. It's a lot of little things, little stories, little anecdotes that they all compressed into a 3-day Christmas weekend with her royal in-laws, and basically how that would drive somebody nuts.
I actually grew up knowing what was going on with Princess Diana, at least towards the latter part of her life, because my mom was a huge fan. She would always watch the news and see what's been going on with Princess Diana and her tragic life. Or she's always also had this fascination for the British royalty and all the drama that came with it, and also how she ended up dying in a tragic accident. That was all over the news at the time in that part of the 90s. Like Elton John even had a song about her, which was also topping the charts at the moment. If you do remember, Candle in the Wind kind of time.
Yep.
So I just want to start things off like by saying that this is probably not the kind of movie/biopic my mom would have enjoyed watching, because she knew the facts. Especially if you probably knew what was happening, or maybe you watched The Crown, or you are very well versed in the royal family. This is not a play-by-play of events like the usual biopics.
Not at all.
This is like a zoom in into her psyche.
Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned The Crown, because it's just so very different. Because I expected something of The Crown, but you're right. It's just one iteration of what could have been going on through her head during that very troubling time in her life. And like this movie was just so perfectly crafted, from the acting to the camera work to the overall editing, and the actual texture of how the imagery looked like. I feel like it deserves more than more than just the best actress nod, because it was a great story. I mean, it was a great story. It had a great performance, and the imagery looked fantastic, in my opinion. It looked like I was watching something on during the 90s, because that's how the imagery looked like. It didn't even look so HD.
And exactly what you guys said, how it's nothing like The Crown. This is really more about essentially, this is her descent into madness, and the film doesn't pull any punches in that regard. It shows us this fractured, broken woman who's just trying to hold everything together. And it was actually made up of a lot of little stories told by bodyguards, by staff, by chefs, maids, all of these people who worked with the royal family over the years. It just so happened that it takes all those little stories and has them all take place over 3 days, just to show us the intense pressure that she was under, trying to enter into this rigid family with its traditions and its rules, and how she just did not fit in.
Hence, not being nominated in the BAFTAs. Ooh.
They gotta be. They really take care of their royals.
Shady.
The tea. No BAFTA for Kristen Stewart.
Well, maybe part of it's the fact that she does not have an authentic English accent, but I mean Welsh accent.
Well, maybe that was the only issue I had, was like every time I feel like she's going to lose the accent, she speaks faster.
But to be fair, I think that I never felt that I was looking at Kristen Stewart for the most part.
Yes.
No, it was like,
honestly, it was like, this is you don't look exactly like her, but you're imbibing the spirit of this character that you're playing. So I'm all in for this.
You know how during when movies start promoting, especially biopics, the press loves to release, first look of this person as this person in latest biopic. So, they love releasing these promotional images to show how much this actor has been transformed into whoever they're supposed to be playing. When I first saw the photos of Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana, I was like, okay lang. It's not, let's say, Freddie Mercury. It's not Rami Malek, Freddie Mercury. It's not.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, it's not Sebastian Stan and Pamela Anderson. What Sebastian Stan was playing.
Tommy
new
Lee.
biopic, Tommy Lee. Yeah, the new biopic that's coming out. Like the press had a field day over that, because showing their transformation and stuff, because you can barely recognize them.
Yeah.
For Kristen Stewart, I was like, yeah. For Kristen Stewart, I was like, it's still Kristen Stewart. And she's still blonde. in a different hairstyle, I guess, and
Shoulder pads.
wearing what? Yeah, shoulder
Shoulder
pads.
pads.
Yes.
It was the
Nothing
80s, you know.
speaks.
Yeah, and like those big British hats, and that was it. I was like, when I saw the photos, like, okay, I was hoping it was the iconic revenge dress, if you remember that full revenge dress, off the shoulder blue dress, but it wasn't that. So I was a little bit disappointed, but my expectations were like totally shattered when I finally saw it and saw her as the actor, because she was playing Diana through and through.
Yep.
She didn't look like her, but the vibe. She passed the
aura.
vibe check, as
the
Gen
aura was
Zers would
there.
say. The vibe check.
There was like only maybe one instance where I honestly felt that where I felt that I was looking at Kristen Stewart and not Princess Diana, and that's only because there was a mirror behind her shoulder and it showed the other side of her face that wasn't facing the camera. And that's the only time I saw the illusion break. Because the rest of the time, I didn't see Kristen Stewart in this movie. I saw a woman who was just holding on by her fingernails, trying to keep everything together. Because we've talked about this. Christmas is a hella stressful time. And what more when you're with your in-laws
Yeah.
and they're as, as rigid and unforgiving in their routines, in their traditions as this one. I mean, look at it this way. They're more concerned with sticking to their tradition and their routine than they are looking after this woman's clearly messed up psyche. For God's sake, the woman publicly had issues with her bulimia, but they still made her go through that stupid holiday tradition. I apologize, I'm probably offending somebody. Their holiday tradition where they weigh everybody who enters the house because you got to weigh at least 3 pounds more when you leave. So we know you had a good time. I'm like, what the actual hell? The woman has bulimia. You want her to get heavier?
Ugh, that's like a messed up tradition.
So there's
Like-
just so many things messed up in this movie.
That's true.
I mean,
but-
like,
Alam mo yun yung bubungad sa'yo, you're about to enter this already taxing tradition or celebration, quote unquote, and you started off by fucking weighing yourself.
Yep.
Like, given you don't have bulimia, it's already terrible. But you add that to it, makes it worse.
there's just so many things that were just disturbing in this movie.
Yep. For anybody who is not familiar, Princess Diana married into the royal family when she married Prince Charles in 1981. And over the course of their 12-year marriage, cracks would begin to show, especially after the first 5 years or so, where people began to notice that they were spending more and more time apart, that she looked exhausted. And, eventually it came out that Prince Charles had been cheating on her the entire time. In this movie,
Charles,
the movie takes place sometime around 87, 88. And we are being shown that Diana knows already of the affair, and she has to deal with something, with things like her husband giving her the same necklace that he gave his mistress. And that's
Fuck
something
that shit,
she
yo.
literally
That's the
carries
worst.
that. Literally
That-
and figuratively, she carries it on her shoulders the entire movie.
That fucking dumbass. I'm sorry. You do not
look at
gift the same thing.
You do
idiot.
not.
Idiot.
Okay, I don't know
Idiot
how to
with
deal
the
with
big
the
ears.
mistress.
I'm sorry. He's not even cute.
But-
sorry.
Neither's the mistress. But anyways,
I hate Camille. Sorry. I'm invested in this. I grew up knowing this. Like, if you ask my mom, she would have even more opinions. It's like, this is secondhand.
I think everybody has more opinions about it. Like
Yeah, I
on
know.
just the surface only.
Well, yeah, given surface only. Because, like, there might be people who defend it. Like, oh no, the marriage was political, but they really loved each other, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that shit. They're ugly.
all
period.
royal marriages
Sorry.
are political.
I have yet to meet somebody who's willing to defend that though.
Somebody on the internet,
What?
probably. There'll always be somebody on
Probably.
the internet.
Some edgelord.
right.
I don't know.
Look, okay, maybe
That's where I read those
lust-
comments.
I'm not even gonna go with love, because Charles once famously answered when somebody asked him if he was still in love with Diana. He's like, whatever that means, whatever being in love actually means.
Asshole.
I guess, lust is blind. I mean, look at Camilla. But anyways, okay, there's got to be a nicer way to say that,
Shade.
No. Look, he's a preppy boy. He grew up all prim and proper. He probably knows how to play polo. She probably reminds him of his childhood. Good for a ride. But anyways, okay. But even in the first 5-6 years of their marriage, people were beginning to notice things, and things that seemed innocent at the time, in retrospect, started to look suspect later on. Like the Prince Charles and Princess Diana visited the set of the then current James Bond movie. It was Living Daylights, and Princess Diana was was egged on by the media to smash a prop champagne bottle on Charles' head, which made headlines the next day. She smashed it over his head, and he was smiling the whole time, and that made headline news. But
I would gladly do that with a real champagne bottle.
A couple of years later, when people knew they were having troubles, they're like, "Oh, she wanted to do that the whole time."
Girl, but I don't blame you.
The few times that Charles gets to speak in this movie, he's just a utter and complete douche.
Dude, it was remember when I mentioned that there were just so many moments in this movie that it was just so uneasy? Like that conversation he had with her when she told her to suck it up and not regurgitate her food.
Yeah, because a lot of people went through a lot of effort. Okay, alam ko if you have health problems, mental health problems.
Okay, I don't know what train of thought he was on, because when you see somebody puking with food, the first thought is, are you okay? Are you sick? You want? It's not like suck it up, eat it, because lots of little bees have worked and sacrificed their lives to make their honey and make your food. Dude, no, something's clearly wrong with your wife. Go check up on her. Ask her what's wrong.
Exactly.
It was so cringy and uneasy to watch that whole conversation. I mean, that small conversation, but it's just so impactful because of what it meant to their marriage, right?
And looking at it in a more big picture way, that interaction was already said so much. But for Diana to actually gaslight herself enough to tell her son, "Let me know when I'm being crazy."
Yep.
When in fact that it's not your fault.
Yep.
You're telling your son, "Okay, tell me when I'm being crazy." But in fact, there's actually something really wrong, and your problems are not being addressed by the people causing your problems. And to be that messed up to think that it's all your fault after probably years of people telling you you're the one in the wrong, you're the one with the problem, you fix it. That's just messed up, man.
Something I saw was one of her bodyguards actually told this story. He said, and this has been backed up by lots of people who actually worked on the estates, was that whenever that she would spend time with them over the holidays, because everything was so regimented, everything was so scheduled, everything was so compartmentalized, down to what outfits they got to wear at different times of the day, down to what sequence of who goes into which room at what time, and what activities they're going to do, what they can talk about, what they can't talk about, and all those things. They said that for her being in those places at those times, it was like purgatory, and she would be climbing the walls. But she only kept going back because of her children, because that was their family too.
Yeah, actually, those are the moments that gave me the most relief, which I think was the point of the whole treatment of the movie. Because for the most part, 80% of it, you can feel her suffocation. You can feel the tension. You can feel how all the tiniest rules will just get to her, under her skin so much. But during the times that when she's with her sons, when she's with little Harry and little William, that's when you feel the relief, the little tinge of happiness that she has because of the kids. So it's, I really felt it.
It was one of those moments, kasi where she could actually be herself, or be truthful about how she felt. That one scene where they were playing that game of soldiers, where she would kind of lose her accent and speak faster.
To be fair, she was playing a character playing a character.
Yes, but but yeah, but going back to the point, it was one of the times where she could be, truthful about
Yes.
how she felt, but still being careful because she was talking to her kids,
Yes.
trying to protect them. at
No
the same
pretense, no masks,
time. It,
no ceremony.
yeah, and I kind of like the idea that the kids kind of knew that there was something wrong with their mom, and through that game they kind
Right.
of expressed their concern.
Yeah.
Buti pa
But
sila.
even the kids had her kids had their own hang-ups. Remember when when one of them asks William, do you want to be king? And his answer, spot on. This kid's like what, 12 at the time, 13.
I have no choice.
He's all like, I don't have a choice. So it doesn't. He knows that this is their lot in life, and Wormtail crystallizes that later on.
Wormtail.
Fine, Timothy Spall.
You know what?
God.
You beat me to it. I thought I would be the first one to say Wormtail, or at least Peter Pettigrew, but you beat me to it. Man, I wanted to claim it. Damn it.
Wormtail, okay. Wormtail, who looks like he hasn't eaten since the release of the Deathly Hallows.
Oh my god.
I think.
I hated him in this movie too.
But
he's such a
he didn't turn
hateable-
out to be that bad at the end.
Well, yeah, not
Ish.
that.
Okay. So
Ish.
like
For the most part, still hateable.
okay, so Timothy Spall,
Still a
Wormtail,
rat.
Wormtail the rat
True.
is one of the staff of the house who's been assigned to make sure that Princess Diana behaves during this holiday. Now, she's told to her face that it's to protect her from the media, but actually he's there to protect the royal family from her and all the things that she would do with her crazy ideas. What can you guys say about him? I mean, let's talk about the secondary characters. Kristen Stewart is amazing, but then you have people like Wormtail. What do you think?
I thought he was effective in this
Very.
movie,
Mm.
but he just added to the, for the lack of a better term, the inis that you would feel if you were there, because he added to the fact that everything was so overbearing already. The tone of the movie, it felt so uneasy, and he just added another layer to that. He was just there, just stalking. Like she even
that
flat
was his
out
job.
mentions-
That was his job.
She even flat out mentions that it was his job to watch.
Babysit. Yeah, the babies. I mean,
Or breathe down her neck.
and he put things into context. What I was saying earlier, he really does put things into context when he tells her that sometimes when he thinks about how fucking crazy all the things around him are happening, because he used to be a soldier, he used to be in in battle zones and all those things. He remembers that he made an oath to the crown, not to the queen, not to the king, but to the crown, which means he holds it above himself, and it doesn't matter what his personal feelings are.
I thought
And
Lord
that the
Voldemort.
sooner that as a Death Eater, he made his oath to he who must not be named. And the sooner that Princess Diana gets on board with that, the
Oh
better.
my god. I just had this visual of, I'm sorry, but the queen has worn things Umbridge has worn. Now that you think about it, I can totally imagine the queen in like her tweed and pink with a tiny little hat. Okay, just saying. Wala
Yeah,
lang.
but she's got a nose.
I said Umbridge, not Voldemort.
Okay, I'm sorry. But really, I mean, I kind of got where he was coming from.
The
As,
king, on the other hand, looks more like Voldemort.
dude, he looked like one. He looked like the Death Eaters got done with him. Wait, but wait.
I'm sorry.
Death Eaters? Death Eaters or Dementors? Dementors.
Oh right, Dementor. Okay, fine. Like, how many times did you get Adava Kedavra at Prince Philip? I mean, really, look at him. This
my
episode
God.
can never be released in the UK.
Do we have like VPN options where we don't release this in the UK? Oh my god.
Oh my god. It's like, so how many deadly curses they hit you with?
Oh my god.
All of them?
How long have you been in Azkaban, sir?
Oh god. Oh god.
I'm so sorry.
Many bad jokes later.
Which of the corgis is a Horcrux?
Wait, how many corgis does she have now?
Oh my god.
Is she down to her last Horcrux?
More bad jokes later. Tama pa rin tayo.
Are we done? Are we good? Did we get it all out? Are we good? Can we continue with the
I think
movie?
it's out of our systems.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So on the one hand, I understand where Wormtail is coming from in respecting the institution and not necessarily thinking about the people contained therein. Because she knew what she signed up for. She married into it. This is not news to her. But I think he's not completely without a heart. He can see that this is eating her up inside. As much as he tells her to suck it up, on some level, he empathizes. He's not entirely evil, I think.
I think that was that one scene that kind of like gave me more to work with, like, you know, to make me forgive his character. Like, some words of wisdom. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was
trying to understand her issues.
He was basically telling her that this is your duty, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Suck it up. You don't have to like it.
He's the one element that humanizes the entire institution because he's part of the system, right?
Yes.
And we have all these frigid rules and everybody really forcing Diana to go by these rules. But him showing a tinge of empathy for her kind of like makes you think that, okay, at least we can say that not the whole British royalty is bad. There will always be people on her side, or at least who understand her, despite having to do the opposite.
And there's something like that. As long as we're talking about ancillary characters, side characters, we have a little bit of that upstairs, downstairs dynamic that we're familiar with from shows like Downton Abbey. And the chef really puts things in perspective when Diana, in a moment of weakness, you know, they're talking. She just needs somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And he tells her, you sure you want to be doing that? Because every fucking thing that comes out of your mouth is currency down here. We trade stories about you people. You sure you want to be talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that he was being honest to her about it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It kind of like gave you like the bad guy from Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Kind of like, kind of like started talking to her like an actual human being, because at one point during the conversation, he addressed her as Diana. Didn't even address her as Your Highness or, or Princess. He just says Diana straight up. Diana, are you sure you want to be doing that?
Yeah.
I think a lot of that goes towards the whole British psyche with regards to their view on the royal family. They know conceptually that the royal family, the queen, the princesses, the princes, the king, whatever, these are all at this point ceremonial titles. They don't actually hold any actual, power, but they respect the institution for all of its flaws because it's part of what makes them them. But, something that doesn't get enough notice, which I think I enjoy about this film, is that it shines a light on that, it is hella stressful to be scrutinized every second of every day.
Yeah. And to think that everything's going to be made so public. Given that you're having marital problems, you're going through a fucking divorce, you have bulimia, and like add the factor that the whole world's watching you.
Absolutely.
And the whole world has expectations. So that's definitely going to come crashing down on you, especially if you feel that nobody's on your side. Like you have your sons. Maybe you have one person on your team, Maggie, your dresser, who you trust and love, but then she's assigned somewhere else because you're getting too close. Alam mo yun, yung parang tangina wala na nga ako kakampi, kukunin niyo pa sa akin yung kakampi ko, parang ganon. you could really see that suffocation she's going through. And man, Kristen Stewart really does that acting so well. It's like I watch her and it's like, are you still breathing? Because I literally feel the suffocation looking at her. It's like she's not breathing.
Didn't she have that whole phase where, like she's known for being an awkward person to interview or to be around with, diba? Like maybe like there is a part of, case to talaga that she brought to the performance, which is why it worked so much, because that whole time of the whole movie during this time in Diana's life, it was, a very awkward time for her to be in with the royal family. So I guess she probably drew a lot from her personal experiences, because the case too, for a fact, didn't really enjoy all the press attention that she got from being in the Twilight movies.
Yeah, because I do adore Kristen Stewart. We already know that.
Is this going to be a thirst portion?
Actually, the weird thing is, here's the irony of the thirst here.
The irony of the thirst.
So I go into this.
That's an awful title for a sex tape.
The irony of the thirst. Okay, I go into this a huge Kristen Stewart fan / apologist, thinking oh no, I'm just gonna have the hots for her this entire time, which is probably why I'm watching it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But she was just that effective as Diana that for the entirety of the movie, there was no thirst. There was no thirsting for Kristen here. I am seeing a mother in turmoil, in complete turmoil.
I wanted to give her a hug.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Or like, it's just like, I want to whisk you away.
Like, are you okay? Like,
yeah.
And something you touched upon. You touched upon how she pretty much lost her entire sense of privacy for a while with the Twilight mania and all that. Privacy. But that's something that she shares with Diana. And look at the time period it takes place. The mid to late 80s is when the 24 news cycle really started. This is when channels like CNN came into their own. So people were hungry for, and excuse the word, for content. And the royal family, every little move they made, all these little scandals. You mentioned that you were young enough to be cognizant of what was going on at the time. I'm a little bit older, so I would see these tabloids because my grandmother loved reading these trashy American tabloids, and they just reported on this stuff mercilessly. Like Charles spent the weekend at Camilla's, or why is Diana alone this weekend? Things like that.
I remember these tabloids. We'd go to the grocery and you'd see them by the counter.
Us Weekly, People Magazine, Star.
They ate it up because she wasn't even a person to them anymore. She was just content.
And for a while, that was also Kristen Stewart's life. Like after Twilight, this whole her romance with the Robert Pattinson, the cheating scandal. Like she was being, she did cheat and she did admit to that and she apologized for it. But she was slut shamed to the max, even to the point of Donald Trump himself tweeting more than 10 times about how much of a scumbag she is. That's
ironic, isn't it?
You have a point. She has gone through this bullshit.
Yeah, so I think it helped her internalization of the character, and the just the sheer frustration of being unable to make a move to the point where little things with your kids to feel normal just help you to stay sane. Like there's a bit in the movie where she takes her kids to go out for fast food. Apparently, that's something the real Diana actually did. She would scandalize the staff by taking her kids out for McDonald's. The chef would beg her, it's like, we can make hamburgers. No, they want the toy. So, she would find reasons and ways to show her kids that there was a world outside of all of this.
Isn't that what she's known for naman talaga kasi? Like, Diana was actually known for being the rule breaker.
She was the people's princess because she broke all of their traditions, all of their rules, and the more she did it, the more people loved her. Even if it was something as simple as visiting an AIDS ward and shaking a patient's hand without a glove back in the days when nobody knew if you could catch it by touching somebody.
Yep.
Yeah.
She would make a statement by doing things like that.
You even remember that one time she went through a landmine. She walked through a landfield. Sorry, she walked through a landfield. That
A minefield, yeah.
a minefield. Sorry, I'll just go back. And there was that one time I remember where she walked through a minefield.
Well, I think she visited, but yeah, the fact that she was there at all, that was huge. You see this petite, well-dressed woman like with full bomb armor. So she was not afraid to go out there and get her hands dirty, quote unquote, doing things that one would never imagine the traditional royals would do. Let's talk about the direction, okay? Pablo Larraín has done biopics before. He did Jackie with Natalie Portman, who did a fantastic job as a former first lady of JFK, and that also gave us an insight into that person's psyche. He does it a little bit differently here in Spencer. Let's talk about the elements that worked or didn't work for you guys with getting into her head.
I was really happy to see the treatment this time, this being, like we said, whimsical in the same way Black Swan was.
Oh, God.
But
tone down.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But since this was all like a little bit of a fantasy, since this is a look into her psyche, I appreciated this treatment. I appreciated that it wasn't your typical biopic, which was like a sequence of events, like, oh, this is how she became famous, or this is how her marriage crumbled, and this was actually just a zoom in into 3 very short days, or actually to her it'll feel like forever, even just 3 days, and you were able to feel that. So I was glad to see this kind of treatment, because Kristen Stewart has done biopics before. If you've seen Seberg from 2019, she's done that.
The Runaways.
Yeah, the Runaways too. That was also
why the hell did I call it Cherry Bomb?
The song was Cherry Bomb.
Idiot.
Yeah. Oh, I really like the Runaways though.
Yes.
So you've seen her in a couple of biopics already, playing 2 different people, and she really did embody Joe and Jet very well.
Yes.
Also, which is a testament to how great of an actress she is. So you already have those 2 kinds of biopics which were sequences of events. So I was at first worried, like, oh no, another biopic for Case 2, but this one worked because of the treatment.
I completely agree with you, because it's Pablo Larraín wasn't afraid to take risks with this one.
Yes.
He wasn't afraid to change certain things. It's just his understanding, or it's how he absorbed the story of Diana. And maybe he just wanted to tell you how that can affect a person's mental state. Having so much challenges while being under a microscope. It's just enough to drive you insane. Like, adding to the treatment, I like the way his vision was translated with how the camera was, how the shots were made, because somehow it kind of, his choice of being so invasive, like there would be shots wherein it's just handheld and it's just so close up.
Yeah,
it's just in your face, or in Diana's face, and it's just so uneasy because you see all her facial expressions, how difficult it was for her to just be there, And then there were certain shots that reminded me of Clockwork Orange. Just maybe it's because it's a story about her descent into madness, or or a story about her mental condition. Claire Mathon, the cinematographer for this movie, actually did a great job of making certain shots feel somehow claustrophobic and just being something difficult to watch. I just want to talk about the scoring of this movie. The movie was scored, the movie's music was composed by Johnny Greenwood, the guitarist of Radiohead. And I like the way how the music translated into what that weekend was like for Diana in a way. Now, how the use of violins and the use of violins and that kind of string instruments, or those kinds of string instruments should translate to elegance and class. But then the way certain scoring for some scenes would be when it comes to those difficult moments is it's a more distorted version, or he would play it in a different pitch.
Yes.
It just added a different layer of unease.
It felt
Tension.
it was
Tension.
claustrophobic somehow.
Like,
you're-
remember that?
Tama. The string instrument analogy is perfect because when you mentioned strings, they are actually associated with maybe like romance or class. But then what I was imagining was that, when you're fine tuning a string instrument and the string gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Parang ganun yung tension na feel ko. That was
Yeah, that was, I think, also parang yung playing it off key.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were playing it off key or it just sounded so distorted. Like, iba yung distortion. Like, it's so different when you play a guitar that's distorted. But if it's a violin, they're probably playing it off key. Like, it would add na parang may mali. Like, there's something wrong. There's something different about this. Like
suddenly it's so shrill and it'll hurt your ears.
Yep. That one scene where they're having dinner and she tried to pull that pearl necklace off and it all falls into her soup.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was just like cringe the whole time.
Yeah.
That was when all the scoring just stood out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really set the scene for the whole movie in that, there's this veneer of elegance. But if you go deeper than that, it's just also horribly twisted and unnerving from what one would assume it to be or what it's supposed to be, theoretically.
Yeah.
But something else that I liked about it was it wasn't any one specific kind of music. They would mix and match styles just to show how erratic also her mindset was over these 3 days.
Yeah. And to even get the line out of Diana, I would like to masturbate. Parang, it was just like so offbeat as well. It's something you would never expect. I never expected that line from this movie either. That's just how fed up she is. That she would tell somebody that she wants to masturbate just so they could fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I am so glad that she used the wire cutters to try to escape and not actually masturbate with them.
Oh, God.
That's a different movie altogether.
No.
Because that would not end well. Bladed instruments never end well.
But the curtain thing was really annoying too. So I would have blown my top.
Yes, it was.
With that whole issue.
Because it's for your protection.
And I also want to touch on the color grading of this.
Yeah,
it actually looks like it hasn't been color graded. It's so raw.
Yes, it looks very raw.
There is no amount
it's
of
so flat.
gloss. Yeah, it is.
It's so flat.
So that already speaks volumes on how powerful the visuals are. You did not need assistance of color.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's also showing rawness.
Yes.
I think aside from the whimsical bits that we mentioned, the fantasy sequences, there are bits where she starts to feel a kinship, for example, with Anne Boleyn. She starts seeing the ghost of Anne Boleyn while she's in the house. It's aside from those whimsical, fantastical bits, I think the rawness that you guys mentioned helps in establishing how real this is, in that there's nowhere for her to hide. You're so into her head, you're so close up, you're fly on the wall to the point that it's voyeuristic at times. Like in her most private, unguarded moments, like when she's getting changed or when she's in the shower and she's just dreading the second that she has to exit the room.
Her moments when she's having her bouts of bulimia.
Yes.
Those were just like...
But the shots were beautiful. Like, what the hell, man?
It even has iconic imagery. Even the poster where she's
that's
the
amazing.
poster where you can see her like crouching over with the dress. Little do you know, when you actually see the movie, she was over a fucking toilet puking her guts out.
I was like amazed when I realized.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yep. When you realize what you're looking at, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, dude.
And you just feel so bad for her, she's, and the movie makes no bones about it. Like, there's very, very little to differentiate between her and the pheasants, the game pheasants that, her kids are going to go hunting the next day. Those birds were just groomed, grown, and prepared for a specific purpose. And she, likewise, as the princess to the crown prince, she has her purpose and she's not allowed to deviate from that in any way. And she wants out.
heavy stuff, man. And also, since this will have those fantasy like moments, like her somehow meeting Anne Boleyn, or her ripping during the dinner, at the dinner table, her ripping apart that said necklace, also like dropping it to the food and eating it. Like
That was
there are
so
moments,
painful.
yeah, there are moments where you don't know if it's actually, you don't know
A
if it's,
hallucination or
yeah,
not.
you don't know if it's real or not. But at the same time, they don't differentiate it so much. They don't obviously tell you which one is
Yeah.
real and which
Yes.
one isn't, because it's telling you this is all real to her. All the feelings that she's
Yes.
going through, these are
Yes.
real. Not this is not hallucination just because it's a hallucination.
And
Doesn't make it
apparently even
less
some of-
real.
Sorry, but apparently even some of the more fantastical bits have some elements of reality. So while it's true that the estate they were on was like right next to the estate where she grew up until her teenage years, she never actually crossed over in the middle of the night to visit her old home, but she apparently did try to commit suicide off the steps during one holiday with the royal family. So it's just, think of it like a remix of historical events.
Mhm.
Remix. I'm sorry. No, but yeah, like I get like that one scene with the pheasants, like that one cathartic scene where she pulls her kids away from tradition.
Right.
That didn't happen. But she did. I mean, it's been reported, and it's a fact that she's expressed that she didn't like the idea of her children hunting.
Yeah.
That's why she had to tell or instruct the royal photographers to not take photos of her children while they were hunting, for instance.
Yes.
She's known for that.
I think we're more or less aligned in what we liked about it. Is there anything you guys would have done differently?
No,
Honestly, no.
it was as perfect as it could be, in my opinion.
There's a part of me which wants to know what is real and what isn't. Like, especially her handmaid, si Maggie. There was this angle towards the end where she confesses her love for Diana.
Yes.
And just this is probably just the Marites side of me who's been so engrossed and or grew up on all this royal chismis. Just me wanting to know what if this is real, if this happened. But at the same time, it tells me that I have no right to know, because this is her mind, this is her life.
That's true. That's true.
So it just gives me this internal conflict of just like wanting to know the truth, but I need to accept that I will never know it and I have no right to it.
Yes, it's a good point. It's a good point.
So like,
Well,
is this real?
not
Like,
to burst your- not to burst your-
I would confess my love to Kristen Stewart
Not
too.
to burst your
Yeah.
bubble. Of course you would. Or happily be her maid. But I was going to say that not to burst your bubble, but
Yes.
apparently she's not based on any one specific person, but she is based on a lot of interviews that the staff did, the creative team did for the movie as part of their research. And I like that they used this amalgam character, this Maggie, to show her that she is deserving of love, that she can be loved, and that there is love outside of the walls of the royal family. And that it really hit me, that note at the end, that, I love you and I'm not the only one. So
That's true. Sorry.
I really like that. That was good shit. I don't think I would
It was so
change.
simple.
I don't think I would change anything either, because I like a film that knows what it wants to do. It knows what kind of story it wants to tell and how to tell it, and then it goes for it. And it's not often you see something that comes out so fully formed. And I really like the way this one came out.
Yeah, it's so
I have,
good.
I have nothing to change about. I enjoyed it, although even if it was a difficult watch because of how uneasy it made me feel, but it was a good movie. Like, nothing to change except for the fact that I wanted KFC because of.
Oh my
shit.
God.
No, you gotta remind me. I want KFC too.
Why do we always
I was
gotta go to
okay without
food?
seeing KFC. But
Oh.
then
I
saw
want
KFC in the
KFC.
movie.
Nom, 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 nom.
I wonder if they got sponsored by KFC.
I don't know.
So that's how they order in Britain. It's like 3 times chicken, 3 times fries.
I was confused about that.
Cola.
Chips.
Chips.
You get chips. But no, wait, I was confused because like she ordered 3 times everything, but they still got a bucket in the end. So
no, they didn't. There was a box.
Harry had a bucket. Harry Weasley had a bucket.
Harry Weasley.
Look at him. He's so ginger. Conan O'Brien is offended.
I'll watch it again just to figure, just to fact check on the bucket or box thing.
No, like seriously. But you know what? I like that ending.
Yes.
While that's not necessarily the whole truth or the exact moment when she realized that she needed to get out of the royal family, for the purposes of this story and the film that they wanted to make, it works very well. The same way that ending on Live Aid did with Bohemian Rhapsody. It's not entirely the truth, but it frames everything with a perspective that I think works.
Yeah. And as on the nose as it might seem, I really like the ending song. Like that little moment of Diana and her kids singing along to All I Need Is a Miracle.
Yes.
While driving away from that godforsaken castle, when finally she gets that moment to breathe and leave everything behind.
Yeah, when she finally gets that one cathartic moment in her life.
That felt so good. And you could also see that freeing moment is still with her sons, which really puts motherhood above everything else, above royalty, above her responsibilities as a princess, quote unquote. I'm still a mom, and this is how I want my kids to live their life. Normal. We're eating KFC. They could do whatever the fuck they want. We're not going to waste their childhoods. We can have shitty Christmas gifts if we want to.
Yes. Now get back into Porsche 911 and we'll live our normal lives.
Oh, man. But good shit. I really hope that she wins something at this Academy Awards. At this upcoming
same.
Well, she's got really tight competition this year, and I'm saying that everybody deserves to be on that nominee list. But like, since she wasn't nominated at the BAFTAs for a good reason, because this is probably like one big middle finger to the royals at this point. But you know what? She deserves it.
They're like, we gotta put up with the crown. Now you gotta give us this.
It's like, just give it to Kristen Stewart. Oh my god, that's me.
No. I'm with you on that. I totally agree. Like, I haven't seen the other movies the other nominees are in, but give it to Kristen Stewart.
Just she's gonna go through a lot of shit from the royals after that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like from Charlie's Angels to this,
right?
I think if nothing else, this shows a wider audience that she does have the range to be taken seriously. It's, she's way more than the sparkly vampires. In the same way that The Lighthouse did wonders for Robert Pattinson in people taking him seriously. It took a few years, but people are now taking them seriously.
I don't know. I've been taking Kristen Stewart seriously since The Runaways, probably.
Same here.
She was amazing.
That was a great movie.
Oh, I can like start thirsting now and name drop all the movies I loved her in. Cafe Society. I loved her in Personal
Also
Shopper.
good.
I loved her in Charlie's Angels. She carried the entire thing.
Not so good, but I loved her in that movie.
Yeah,
she was the only good thing in that movie. She was the only good thing in that movie. Sorry. And maybe Princess Jasmine. Fine.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Princess Jasmine was good also.
Naomi, what?
Right.
Campbell. What is the model?
No.
Baliktad.
The hell, man?
We're both wrong.
What was her name? Never mind.
Princess Jasmine.
We'll just stick with Princess Jasmine.
Oh my God.
And Grima, not Grima Wormtail.
No.
Peter Pettigrew.
Stop it.
Anyway, so yeah, Kristen Stewart, loved her ever since, and I am so happy that she gets this Oscar recognition.
Damn straight.
Sorry, Lady Gaga fans. She took the slot. Woo, go Case 2. Woo, go Case 2. I don't know what to sing, so I'm just gonna campaign for Case 2. Woo!
Sige, you do that.
Joke lang.
So let us know what you thought about Spencer in the comments. Kristen Stewart delivers a tour de force performance. proving once and for all that she is deserving of our attention. And she's shining a light on a very serious set of issues: mental health,
The movie.
dealing with your family, and
Yes.
trying to survive in a very rigid structure. This is not Encanto. This is like heavier than that. But, you know, we had a great time with Spencer, and we want to know what you guys think. Look us up on Instagram, sub_auteurs, and also on Facebook. Join our group, Sub-Auteurs. We like movies. Until the next episode, thank you so much for joining us. We are your hosts. I'm Misha.
Shade as well on another family, but in another country. But yes, my name is Maggie.
Somewhere closer to home.
Ooh.
Hi, Manjo.
I guess the North never forgot, but okay.
Solid. Solid. Blah, 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 blah.
Ang ganda nung filter ng mic mo. Ang kulay niyan.
It's what? What color is that?
Pink.
I'm just not getting it. There's something wrong with my earpiece.
Last ko na to. Prince Charles looks like Dobby the house elf.
He actually does.
He does, right? He does. It makes sense. Wala lang, sorry. Although Dobby was nicer.
Pero ugaling creature. Alfred E. Newman.
Pwede rin. Gago.
Oh
my
Dobby is
God.
a free elf.
That's exactly what he said when they got divorced.
Instead of divorce papers, she gave him a sock.
A royal song. Tama na. Let's record na.